Okay, my name is Wendrel Price. I was born in Russellville, Kentucky in 1945. Went to Tech High School and I majored in art. Well, all 4 years I was there. I graduated from Tech in 1963. Then I went to Herron School of Art when it was on right off of 16th in Pennsylvania. I consider myself a fine artist at heart. I like drawing and painting. My favorite media is acrylic paints and Prismacolor pencils and charcoal pencils. I was at Herron from 1963 to 1967. And the way I chose my favorite medium is like, of course, we had um, painting classes and art classes and all different media. And that's when I was introduced to oil paints. And just personally, I preferred a fast drying paint. And that's why I lean more toward acrylics. When I was looking for a job in the commercial art field, I just started working as a substitute teacher. And as a substitute, the last, I did that for 5 years before I got a full-time job at Tech in 1973. So I was just working as a substitute teacher in a lot of different areas, but I noticed when I worked in an art room that I was just attracted to that. I did retire after being at Tech High School for 35 years in '08. Never really stopped working. Last 4 years, I've been working for Mr. Law at Washington High School as an art teacher. So if I was a fine artist that still wasn't working, I feel like I would be doing much more artwork. But with the pandemic especially and the way things are in IPS, me teaching art classes is a full-time job, and it's kind of hard for me to, like paint every day or draw every day or think about pieces. So recently I just got a degree in integrated studio practices in May, but I took a narrative imaging class, and all three of the pieces a couple of the pieces that I'm putting in this Meet the Artists exhibit is some of the pieces that I did from my class in narrative imaging. As long as I can remember, I like to draw. When I was younger, I drew, Batman and Superman was around. I drew from comic books because that was what important to me. And of course, I went through the civil rights movements. I'm 76 years old. And at the time, I was drawing images that reflected, Black pride, dashikis, and my heritage. Then after that, I was making social statements with my artwork. But more recently, what's most important to me today is my relationship with God. So a lot of my artwork is reflecting what's most important to me now. One of the pieces that I'm gonna put in is the baptism of Jesus Christ by John the Baptist in the River of Jordan. And then one of the pieces that I did in my narrative imaging classes was called Can't Happen. But what I was trying to express in that, I have a Bible being squeezed in a vice. And in my opinion, society and sometimes government is trying to squeeze faith-based concepts out of our society. And that's what the Bible being squeezed, but what I know from what I believe is that can't possibly happen. All of my students that they had me in class, even though it was art related, that we did some things together, but the most important thing, even more important than the relationship we had with art, was our relationship with one another. I believe that the most important thing in our lives is our relationship with other people. Art, music, any other thing is secondary to that. My relationship with Jonathan Sullivan is our relationship just because we care about each other and I care about him. And it just so happens that we connect with art. And the same thing with anybody that I come into, I want that to be the most important thing in my classroom is that you realize that I care about you. Because there's a statement in education, students don't care what you know until they know that you care. Art is secondary to me, to my relationship. When I retire, I want to invite people that have been a positive influence on my life, like some of my former students. or, you know, some of the teachers, you know, the people that I meet that just help me. I needed help, and everybody needs help, but people have a relationship with me in the way that I try to have a relationship with others.